Bert! Get him! Yeah! Ron Babe was right.
I'm feeling spry. Hey everybody, Merry Christmas. Now I'm saying that generically because it's only the 21st as I'm recording this, but let's say, you're traveling like over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go, that, like you're going to go somewhere. And I'll tell you what, I know who'd get you there better, more accurately, show you every trail, every road, would be Onyx, the title sponsor of this show. You could use your Onyx to go visit grandma's house through the river and over the woods, or however you get to grandma's house. Doesn't matter. Go there with Onyx. Go there with confidence that you won't end up at the wrong property that you're not welcomed at. Okay? There. Anyway, I hope if you're listening to this before Christmas, I hope you got your Christmas wishes ready to go, and you got your presents for everybody. We talked about them last week, right? We talked about giving your loved one, your spouse, your better half, your other half, your second half, your third half, whatever it is. You give that person a Gunner kennel or a Gunner bed or a Gunner vest or a Gunner food bowl or a Gunner food crate. It doesn't matter what you get them from Gunner. They're going to love it. Same thing with Garmin. My God, I know it's a little late to try to get something shipped to you by, there's a few places that could do it. But, I hope that you get that. I hope you get that Garmin Instinct watch that I talk so much about. That's my everyday. The only time I take this off is when I'm in jiu-jitsu class. That is the only time this Instinct is off. The little flashlight at the top, that's the killer. That's the headlamp of all headlamp because it's always on your wrist. It's always on your wrist. Canine Athlete, I hope your dog's already having it, and that's not one of those presents you want to wrap up with a bow and someone's going to get all excited. That's something you get for your dog. Much like Purina Pro Plan. The dogs don't know it's Christmas. We tell them it's Christmas. We go, hey, Merry Christmas, Fluffy. But, keep them on the Pro Plan. Keep them on the Canine Athlete. That's the best you can do for Christmas presents with that stuff. It's not like wrappable presents, but a Mossberg's wrappable. Now, under the tree, if you're getting one for your kid for the first year, he's probably going to think it's a gun because it's going to be in a long box. That's kind of a giveaway, right? But, there's still time. You could go to a department store. Not a department store. That's from my era. You can go to a sporting goods store, gun shop. You could still get a Mossberg wrapped up under the tree. You could, if you lived anywhere in Southwest Michigan, you could probably go over to Boss Ammunition, get one of those money bags, fill it up with a bunch of 20 gauge or 12 gauge or 28 gauge or 16 gauge. I'm not saying you got time to ship it to your house, but you could. I mean, you get the gift card. If you go online, you get the Boss gift card. Like if you're a last-minute Charlie, that would be great, right? Same thing with Marshwear. You could get a gift card because, so many people don't know what the other person wants. But, I mean, Marshwear makes a great gift from every range. I mean, I wear it from my toes to my neck. I'm in Marshwear. Seriously. I don't think there's time to get a pair of Arxis boots, but it doesn't mean you couldn't get a gift card from Jack or take a picture of it online with your phone, print it, put a little card and say, sorry, I'm a last-minute Charlie, but your Arxis boots are coming. You could say that, right? There's a lot of ways to get around the fact that you waited too long to get someone in your family or get someone for yourself. I know a few people who get I know a few people who buy themselves Christmas presents. Like this year, I needed 2 new dog cots, right? Now, I'm not saying anything about the Gunner kennel bed because Eddie's on it right now. She's been on it since she came back from South Dakota with that big hole in her back leg. She has claimed that as hers. She has not torn it up. But my other dogs, they have to go on cots. Well, not Vivi. She can go on a pad. But the Broncos and the wire-haired Vizsla, I'm telling you what, so for my Christmas, My wife says, "What do you want? I know you don't need anything, but you got to let me." I'm getting 2 new dog cots for the kennel. That's what I'm getting. That's my present. So there's a lot of ways around this. But if you waited this long, well, I'm sorry. You waited too long. I know you can get gift cards for Onyx, Gunner Kennels, probably for actually you could probably get a gift card. You can make your own gift card for God's sakes. You could even have a real special, like if you wanted to send somebody down to Backcountry Preserve, you could make this nice little card and print it out, put it in an envelope, and give it to your loved one who likes to go places and wants one more hunting trip. You could have this say, "Here is a dear loved one, dear love of my life. Here is a 1-day trip to Backcountry Preserve in Glasgow, Kentucky." You could do that, right? You could. I don't know if Watermark Brewery has gift certificates. I really suggest you just go to Watermark Brewery. Now, if you live in Southwest Michigan, you can find it in some of the stores. But like most of you don't live in Southwest Michigan, and I understand that. But if you're ever coming through, you get off at exit 22 on I-94, you will thank me. You will thank me. I'm heading down there Monday, which is tomorrow as I'm recording this. And I got to get another barrel of beer. Yeah, I went through another barrel of beer. It takes me about 3 weeks. Everyone's like, that's a lot of beer. It's really not that much. It's only six glasses of beer a day. 6. That's not. Yeah, my doctor knows. Okay, my doctor knows how much beer I drink, and she's always saying, "Do you want any help quitting?" I said, "Do you want to come over and help me drink?" I said it's not going to change anything, but I don't know. I thought she was just jealous. It's hard to say with her. She thinks I should quit smoking cigars and thinks I should quit drinking so much beer. And I don't know. Seems to work for me. I don't know why I'm rambling on like this. I hope you all have a great, great Christmas with family and friends. I hope your dogs get a little extra treat and a little extra spoil. I hope you either squeeze in a hunting trip or squeeze in a old friend or a relative that you don't see very often. It's the end of the year. Let's wrap it up on a high note and just be grateful and thankful that we made it through another time around the sun. I think like in 2 days, it's the equinox. I was trying to tie that in, but be honest with you, I'm really tired today. Really tired. I'm just physically, mentally tired. And where are we at here? We're at 7 minutes. That's really not that bad, for this. 7 minutes? Oh, I want to, swear to God, last thing I'm going to say. All right, if you're not a Patreon, that's Patreon. If you're not a Patreon patron of the show, there's always time to do it. And you're not going to miss out on any of the content that we've put out before. But I found an old USB drive cleaning out my drawers upstairs. Not my pants. Cleaning out some drawers on an old desk I have upstairs in my room/office. And I took that jump drive out here, and I found some doozy pictures. So we're going to be putting those up on the Patreon page. And there's one video of a bear hunt that I was on up in Canada. And we found the bear in the morning. Just that one we might have to put a disclaimer on, like if you get the bear. Anyway, found some great videos, found some 150 good pictures, and we're going to be putting that up there. And if you got some old vintage pictures or things that really stand out, not just like your average grip and grin with you and your dog from last year, but like a picture that really means something, like first time you went hunting and it might not even be the person you're with now or you hunted with now, but send them into Patreon, send them into me, send them into the Hunting Dog Podcast. My daughter's doing a good job of putting it together. We want more content. We want you. We like that old saying, like in the military. I want you. Uncle Sam wants you. Ron wants your pictures too. All right, we're family. Families get together at Christmas. Enjoy yours. I'm going to enjoy mine. Have a great one. All right, everybody. By request of something that my daughter put out, I'm just gonna say the percentage of people that wrote me back. This was a high percentage response for what they'd like to see in the new year, and people I think want to know more, at least from what I gathered now. They like two kinds of episodes. They like episodes about training, and they liked it when I've had people in a particular breed and how they breed that dog, right? Like maybe it's just whether it's a Cocker Spaniel or a Bronco. I've had a few people that we dove into it, but anyway, I have Laura Reeves back on, and Laura Reeves has a podcast for many, many years. We kind of become we're Facebook. I know we're Zoom friends, right? We haven't
No
met
friends.
Laura. And if I'd have been to the NAVDA annual meeting when you gave a talk on this,
Yes.
I
Yes.
would have known you. You would have been on my podcast 3 years ago. Um, but anyway, Laura Reeves has been at the game of breeding dogs, showing dogs, hunting dogs, testing dogs. She has her podcast called Pure Dog Talk.
Mhm.
And because a couple people wrote in, basically, did I ever have a episode about not how to breed dogs, but what about breeding dogs? And immediately I called Laura the other day, and she agreed to come on this afternoon. And I'm going to tell you people right now, I will save the video from this. Um, I'll put it out to my patrons because they are the ones that asked. And I'll tell the rest of you that if you want to do it, you could become a patron
There you go.
of
That's
either
the
of our
right
shows.
answer.
Because Laura has a whole nother group. She has a Zoom room like I do. It's what's yours called, Laura?
Patrons After Dark.
Patrons After Dark, and mine's just a Zoom room, but we do the same thing.
Yeah.
We crack a beer, we pour a drink,
Yep.
we get into gear and talk about automobiles sometimes.
Yeah.
But you also have a private Facebook group for your patrons, and
Yep.
they kind of carry the conversation and brings up stuff. So if you really want to, if you're in this for the long haul, I would suggest if you want to ever learn more, because some of these things will have some. Laura's got screen sharing ability, and
Yeah.
there'll be some charts, there might be some pedigrees that'll put it in a visual for you while you're hearing it. So if you want that, become a patron. If not, get a notepad out and don't listen to this one while you're driving. So Laura, my question to you is like, well, the main question was like that I gave you is like, what is line breeding, or and does that is that the end all and be all? But I did a little Googling beforehand just so I sounded half smart. And of course, I used AI, so that doesn't make me half smart, Laura.
Just used
but
up a lot of water, Ron.
I just did. You're right. Oh, we got a Nestle's plant sucking up the rest of it too.
There you go.
It was just a headline says, "What is the goal of breeding?" And the three things that it related to me is, conformation, drive, and temperament. Right, the three things in every breed that you're trying to keep consistent.
Yes.
But kind of dive into the line breeding and or modern breeding or whatever the name is, Laura.
So there's dog breeding, of course, has been around for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Like guys have been doing this for centuries and centuries and centuries. Some of the research. So from Pure Dog Talk, we also have an entire, I was telling Ron earlier, I have an entire seminar on this, a weekend seminar that I give with Dr. Marty Greer, who's a reproductive veterinarian who's quite famous. And we do the entire 101 to 801 of dog breeding, literally as a 2-day, 2.5-day seminar. Everything starting with what is dog breeding through sending your puppies home with contracts, like the full Monty.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of give you some picking and choosing highlights of some of what we talk about in the pedigrees to pups seminars. But basically the concept is if you are constructively breeding dogs in order to further a goal, first you have to have a goal, right? So what's my goal? I want to have a UT Breeder Award for the next 10 years. Okay, that's a goal, right? Whatever your goal is. I personally am breeding wire-haired pointers. I wanted to have dual dogs, right? So I wanted to have good show dogs that were pretty, that also had the field work and
Right.
were tested in hunt tests or field trials or NAVDA or wherever it was. Okay. Some people have a goal to have 500 best in show dogs. Okay, that's a goal, right? So you have to have a goal before you start. But no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, that's where you start. So there's, in the breeding community, there's sort of three concepts when we talk about breeding. Inbreeding, line breeding, and outcrossing.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who will argue that line breeding and inbreeding are the same thing, and it's just a matter of degrees. I'm not entirely sure I agree with that, but okay, if we want to call that a principle. Um, Many years ago, maybe I don't have my thing in front of me, but I want to say maybe in the 50s, there was a guy who used the racehorse theory. His name was Brackett. So the Brackett theory of dog breeding that was based on the how they bred racehorses, and it was a you get it just right because I'll mess it up. Where's Brackett's formula? Anyway, the basic concept was like a line breeding concept that the sire of the dam should be the grandsire of the sire, like that. Kind of the uncle niece sort of
Yeah,
breeding
yeah, yeah. You
concept.
wanted to see that certain
Yeah,
animal in the pedigree repeated, basically?
both sides, both
Both sides.
sides.
Okay, both sides.
And so there's a whole exact formula that is called Brackett's formula. You can look it up. You can
Hmm.
come to the seminar and I'll show it to you on a slide. But the basic idea is that you're not just breeding dogs. You're not even just breeding test scores or ribbons or my buddy's got a dog and we want to make babies, right? Like we're not doing it that way. We're doing it with a purpose and with precision. And that the way that you can meet your goal, whatever your goal happens to be, is by utilizing these systems.
Right.
So, line breeding, inbreeding is basically the concept of having the same dog appear in the pedigree multiple times. Okay.
Yep.
And if you want to let me share my screen, I can show you pedigrees that look like that.
Okay.
Um, okay. So this is an inbred pedigree. All right.
Hmm.
So everybody understands pedigrees. The sire's always on the top, dam's always on the bottom, right? And so this is a very handy type of pedigree where you get color coding and it shows you
Oh,
if the
yeah, yeah.
dog is the same dog, it has the same color,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
So this is a half brother, half sister breeding.
Hmm.
Okay. Red sparks fly, the dam is the common parent. So
Got
the bottom half of both of these pedigrees are all exactly the same dogs. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, I see that.
That's the half brother, half sister. Now, it also includes this dog, Private Reserve, shows up on both top and bottom. So you're getting a real concentration of the genetics. And the idea is that you concentrate the genetics of a positive dog. Please do this on a positive dog. You're going to inbreed, dear God. If you're going to inbreed, I will tell you this. This breeding happened in 2020,
Hmm.
at which point I had 25 years. Everything in this pedigree, basically, I bred, I created. I knew all the dogs in this pedigree. I had had my hands on them. They were health tested, they were temperament tested, they were field tested, they were participated in dog shows.
Yeah.
I knew everything there was that I could get my hands on to know about the dogs in this pedigree before I did something like this. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
That's really important
Yeah.
um, in order to be successful because you are concentrating the genetics of this dog, right? The Red Sparks Fly dog is the one with the most concentrated genetics.
Right.
And that dog, you're going to concentrate both the good and the bad. So you want to be as sure as you can possibly be that there just isn't anything bad. Okay.
Right. I mean,
Or as
nothing.
close as you can get, we're humans, right? And
Right,
Mother
right,
Nature's a
right.
bitch and all
Yeah.
those things. So I started with the bitch that I inbred on. Good mind, good field dog, winner's bitch at the national, great hair, passed all her health clearances with flying colors, and everything behind her as well. had done those things.
Yeah.
So then this was actually, as I say, even a little bit closer than just half brother, half sister, because the lineup with the private reserve dog
Right.
who's in there multiple times. So this is really tightly bred on that dog. So this is a picture of a pedigree of line bred.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Or of inbred, sorry. This
Inbreeding.
is line bred. This is a little looser. You've still got the Merlin v Nico dog shows up, the private reserve dog shows up. You know, there's dogs that are similar in this pedigree. It's line bred on the Dallas dog, Merlin v Nico, that shows up on both sides. Also, you've got the autumn moon, you know, so this is a nicely loosely line bred dog with a lot of, you know, outcross, extra vitality. This is a
Yeah.
very loose line breeding, but it gives you an idea. You're trying to get the same dogs that you're concentrating on both the top and the bottom of the pedigree. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Both the sire and the dam side, and where they land matters. And that's an important thing to remember.
Where
See the
they land
stagger step?
in the stair step of lineage.
Correct. See the stagger step that Merlin Vinico is here, and then he's another generation back on the bottom side.
Yeah.
That's a big chunk
That
of
would be
what you're
like he wasn't the father of both. He was the father of one and the grandfather. So I just
right,
people are
right,
listening to this
right,
audio.
right,
Right.
right, exactly. Okay, so now we have an outcross. And so for your audio people, this is a breeding I did in 2019 that was one of my dogs who was lightly right line bred, the grandfather, you know, that stagger step on the private reserve dog. But then he was bred to, oops, he was bred to a bitch from Russia. I mean, there was no
No,
common ancestors in to the founding. Like you could
nothing that you could find, right?
you
Like,
would never find anything the same.
right.
Okay. And so this is a pedigree that shows that picture.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of ways to do this, and everybody has an opinion, right? We all know the story about that. Opinions are like
Yep.
everybody's got one.
Well,
Um,
like armpits, everybody's got two.
there you go. Something like that. So one of the things that has become very shishi in today's world, you know, in the 50s we had the brackets formula and
Mhm.
everything was either line bred or inbred. Today people have gotten really caught up in what is, to be honest, basically animal rights language, which is trying to have the lowest, what they call coefficient of inbreeding that
Mhm.
they can possibly get. So if you're on the video, you're seeing this number I'm circling on this
Right.
pedigree,
Seven. In that case, it's 17.04. Right.
right? On the pedigree. And what's important for people to understand is that what the pedigree estimates the COI to be is not necessarily as what each individual puppy within that litter will be.
It would only be an average then.
Correct. And
Yeah.
so the interesting piece of information to take from this is I did, because Embark was sponsoring my podcast at the time, I had every one of these 14 puppies DNA tested
Wow.
for, right, so that I could get the actual DNA coefficient of inbreeding for each individual dog.
Wow.
Okay. Pedigree said it was going to be 17%. I had everything from 14% to 28% in the puppies represented.
So we're still rolling the dice, basically.
Well, that's what we have DNA testing for.
Holy cow.
And so it's important to learn from that two things. Number one, puppies are not identical twins.
Mhm.
Each puppy is different. Each puppy gets a different roll of the dice within the litter. And number two, you can do what I did, which was know that I've done an inbreeding and then select the puppy with the lowest COI
Okay.
and use that to breed forward from.
Okay. Let
Happened
me
to
let me
also
ask
be the
you a
best dog
question.
in the litter. So there you
Well,
go.
if so, that breeding
on paper said I'm not saying it said the puppies you would be, but
Mhm.
the background of the pedigree says 17%. Is that a what's called a good number, a bad? Like what's a what a
I
because
mean, for
sheep
me, that's not much. I mean, there's a lot of pedigrees out there
that
that
would
are
have
much higher than that.
okay. That I just want to give them
So
clarity.
there is a push, within certain organizations, within certain countries, when we're talking globally,
Yeah,
within certain individual, whatever, to try and get to 5% COI. And so I can tell you that this, where is it? No. Okay, this was the outcross breeding. It
right.
was 0.5%.
Well, I was going to ask you that. So do
So there you go.
outcrosses basically kind of clean it all out and bring that coefficients number, but what else does it bring in?
Right. And so that is the conversation. So there's
Yeah,
we think about when we do our pedigrees to pup seminar, we have the art and the science of dog breeding and it's both. And you have to have kind of a sense, right? And an understanding, and then there's the science piece. And so the way I have personally always bred is I line breed. I don't in that one inbreeding is the only one I've ever done. And it was very successful. It set the things I wanted it to set. Temperament, health scores, minds, all solid. Okay.
yeah,
And the one dog that's been bred down from it produced, carried it forward. Right.
right,
So the idea of inbreeding is you're setting those good things, you're making those stick
right.
so that they are consistently um,
Okay.
reproducible,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That you're going to consistently get that thing that you're
Hmm.
trying to set in stone. What you want to be careful is you're not setting in stone, oh, I don't know, epilepsy, right?
Right.
The thing you're setting in stone is a positive. So that's why I was talking about that.
Yeah,
But I also do this. I did this breeding. So the sire of this outcross litter and the sire of the inbred litter are the same dog. And I did
yeah.
it
Red Spark.
intentionally
Yeah,
because I wanted to test what he produced. And so you're trying to learn about your dogs, which in many cases you can only do by making puppies out of them.
yeah. I mean, that's it. That's the only.
What they should do on the pedigree, what they should do in the show ring, what they actually do in the whelping box is what actually matters.
Hmm.
And so this was really instructive to try and kind of get that information. So the other part of this is you should be breeding if you're doing this seriously and with intent. You should be breeding in a long-term plan. So when I did those two breedings with Bang, it was with the idea that in 3 or 4 generations I will be able to bring the threads of those pedigrees back together. Like I
Right,
already have the breedings planned for the progeny that have not even been born yet.
right. You have like a five. I don't want to say like a company will have like a 5 year plan.
5 year plan, 10-year plan. No, that's exactly what it's like.
It's just like a company trying to build in
Right.
franchise.
Yes, 100% exactly the same. The
Yeah,
difference is that you get the puppies on the ground and, well, shit, that didn't work. And you
yeah.
have to scrap that division and start all over again, if we're going to use the corporate metaphor, right?
Right. That's true. We're gonna tear that one down and put
Yep,
the new one on the top.
nope, nope, flush that one, try again.
Yeah.
Um, and so that is, for those of you on video, this is a slide in this presentation that I think is really, really important. If we're going to be serious about dog breeding, if we're going to do this for real instead of just, have a dog,
Yeah.
to with a goal, which to be perfectly honest with you, I think that if you are breeding dogs, you should be doing it intentionally
Right.
and purposely and seriously and with the idea of conservation, saving your breed, conserving the qualities that make your breed unique and ideal and special and what have you, and making fewer health problems, structurally better, temperament better, all of those things, right? Working towards a specific goal rather than just towards making babies.
Right.
Um, and when we do that, we pay attention to health, we pay attention to temperament, we pay attention to structure, we pay attention to ability. And so this slide came out of a conversation I've had with a very, very, very successful breeder of Shih Tzu, actually.
Mhm.
But it's no different whether you're breeding Shih Tzu or Bracos or wire hair pointers. The same concept. The ruthless selection and the relentless pursuit of perfection.
Yeah.
There
I'll
is no
repeat that
perfect
again.
dog. There
The
is no
root,
perfect dog.
the ruthless
Ruthless
select.
selection, super important.
Yeah.
Ruthless selection in the relentless, it could make a grown man cry what I have been through, pursuit of perfection. And
Yeah.
there is no perfect dog. This is an unending pursuit. This never ends. This is a Sisyphean concept. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. And the word ruthless is a little hard to swallow, but
It
it
is.
doesn't mean just what we used to hear about in Germany, culling
It
culling
doesn't
10 down
mean
to 8.
bucketing all your puppies,
Right,
right? That's
right.
not what I mean by
But
ruthless. What
you
I
have to
mean by
be,
ruthless
yeah,
is that you don't make a breeding decision just because your buddy's got a dog. You don't make a breeding decision just
hoping,
because, yeah,
hoping,
hoping. You don't make a breeding decision just because you love your prissy pampered pet,
right.
right? You make a breeding decision because it's the right pedigree, the right plan, the right whatever. You have put effort and time into it. Your ruthless is more about emotion than it
Right.
is about
It's like
meanness.
ruthless honesty.
Taking the emotion out of the conversation.
That's perfect. Yeah.
And when you select a puppy from your litter, you don't select the puppy that has a cute little heart on its side because it spoke to you,
Right.
right?
Right.
Ruthless is taking the emotion out.
Yeah.
It is making this about how to create the most successful approach to your goal that you can do to
Right.
make a dog that will live forever with its family in a healthy, happy way.
Yeah. It's a
It
funny
is a
word to
really
use.
big responsibility when we bring these dogs into the world
Yeah.
and put them into their homes. That's a huge responsibility. And the people who don't take it as such upset me a little bit
Well,
because it's that dog's life, it's those people's lives. If that dog isn't nasty, if it's sick, if it's any of those things that are in any way preventable on our end, that's our responsibility. And we need to think of it in that way.
yeah. It almost I'll say stuff I probably shouldn't say here too. It's almost like there should be an approval board to become a breeder. And even then, you
They
could
have those in Germany, honey. It's
well,
okay. VDD already has that.
that's true. That is
But
true.
you can have that same
Yeah.
attitude about doing the right thing without having the government, if you will, the authority look over you and tell you you
Right.
must.
You could
I
raise your own bar to that level.
raise your own bar.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. As soon as I said it, I'm like, yeah, that's inaccurate. There's the VDD, right? And
Yeah.
I knew one of the breed wardens. He was one of my
Mhm.
mentors in NAVDA,
Yeah.
and he explained it all to me. And I got it because he was when their selection is, you could call it ruthless, but
Mhm.
it's not about culling pups. It's
Right.
that dog measured out with the wicket stick at the
Right.
dog show. He's an inch too short at the withers.
Right.
And they literally stamp,
Yeah.
do not breed.
Yes.
He might have every other quality that they want,
Right.
but they're like, okay, if we do that, well, then if we let the short dog breed, we'll
Right.
let the one breed that's got an underbite because,
Right.
well, not most of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so it's it is why dog breeding is art and science,
Right.
right? You can't just breed willy-nilly and hope for the best. I mean, you can. God knows plenty of people do.
Right. Right.
My recommendation is that that will be less than satisfactory long run.
Hmm.
And my goal is to have happy, healthy dogs in family homes that love them. And as I said before, Mother Nature's a bitch. Things happen that we have no way to control. None.
Right. Right.
But we have ways to control a lot of other things. And
Right.
so maybe it's just because I'm a control freak. I don't know. But I'm saying controlling the things that I can control,
Yeah.
and only I'll give you a perfect example. I had a very beautiful bitch many years ago. She was a show champion. She was health tested, totally clear on everything, sweetest dog that ever lived. And I swear to Jesus, if you showed her a bird, she'd roll over on her back and wave her feet in the air.
Like, yeah.
And I mean, and it wasn't just birds, it was anything. If you
Right.
asked her to do any work ethic kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right? If she could have done obedience at a breeder,
Right.
nothing, nothing.
But she was beautiful
Giant paw. She was beautiful, absolutely beautiful, sweet, beautiful pedigree, all the rest of it. I never bred her
because
because
you knew.
my line, what my line in the sand, right? My thing that I have to have at least some inkling that they can be a bird dog. Like I don't need every single dog to be a UT prize one,
Right.
bloody, 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 right? But they have to at least not gag on the bird.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's like
I mean, it's not a super high bar, but it's a bar.
it'd be like recruiting a basketball team and saying
Yeah.
like, well, that one guy, he's only got one arm, and say, yeah, but he's so tall. Let's see if we can get a good
If we
game
could just
out of
stand
him.
him under the basket and like
Just
right, dodge. Yeah, it's so dog breeding is sometimes you make a plan, like you have the pedigree, you lay it all out, it looks fantastic.
Mhm.
I'll give you another example. I did a breeding that was I was so excited about this pedigree that I literally had already made up my mind that the litter theme was going to be superheroes. Honest to God.
Oh, you mean
5
the same puppy?
generations of dual champions.
Right.
It was this, it was, I mean, it was
It was going to be
amazing,
something,
right?
something, the Flash,
Something,
something,
something.
Batman,
Yeah.
something, Spider-Man,
Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all of it.
Catwoman.
Yes. And then they were born.
uh,
6 out of 7 of them were so heinously mismarked. I had one puppy born with no solid liver anywhere.
just a couple freckles, a
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah. 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 She eventually ticked in like a badly developed negative, right? So there was ticking where there should be a solid spot.
Right.
She had no spot. I'd have one of the most beautiful, God, he was beautiful. The single most beautiful puppy possibly I've ever bred, and he had a half mask.
Yes.
Um, No,
Now,
just like this.
Laura,
Like this side of his face was white, the side of his face was brown.
let me ask a really novice question right at that point, because of the markings.
Mm,
Markings are also a genetic indicator. Right?
yes.
So
Yes.
somewhere in that lineage that you could not tell, there was a dog in that background that had a man. No, not
No.
necessarily. Okay.
No, no, because what it is, so genetics is fascinating. So there's color, brown or black, or whatever your colors are, right?
Right.
And then there's spotting. Literally, the gene is for spotting. And the big spot that goes on their head, that's just
Yeah.
a big spot.
It just happens to always go on their head.
It's just a big spot. And so there's not really good information as they're developing the genome about why that big spot goes right there. But that's basically what that is. And if the big spot gene goes sideways somewhere, and so I have found because of that, I got to be really, really good at clearing mismarks. And there's a way to do it. You just breed to a very heavily marked dog, a solid head,
Okay.
long neck, you know. I bred the one properly marked puppy from that litter, became a champion senior hunter. Bred down from him to a solid headed, super dark ticked bitch. No mismarks, no problem.
Right. So that's something you can, I don't want to say clear up, but you don't want to see
It's
it,
easy
but
enough to,
it's
I
easy.
don't want to do it again, but it's easy
Right.
enough to fix.
Right.
If you're
And
smart about it. I mean, there are people out there who took them a lot longer to figure that out. So
right.
just leave that alone. Um, anyway, there are ways to solve that problem. And in the scheme of problems,
That's
other
right.
than heartbroken, you know, the one really beautiful point, right? Like, okay, in the scheme of problems, those are still dogs that can be good hunting dogs and family companions, and
Healthy.
you
Yeah.
ship them off to Paraguay and nobody ever sees them and it's fine.
Yeah.
Um, it's fine. It's fine.
Because
Heartbreaking.
we all
They
know
were,
they
no,
like,
I will tell you the side note, they were named after villains. So there was like Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze.
well, on a sidebar, I let my daughters help me or help me name a litter. So my
Mm,
kennel name was Dancing Duke because all my daughters took dance class
okay,
and they all watched John Wayne movies with me growing. Whenever I was watching them, it was a
right.
John Wayne movie. They had no
There you go.
choice, right?
Yeah,
So I named the kennel Dancing Duke Kennel.
there you
And
go.
for a few people who don't know how that works, you get a litter of puppies, like Laura was saying, it's going to be Dancing Duke Thor, Dancing Duke
Right.
Spike. And we ended up with it was our H litter, and they came up with, I think, 10 H names from the Harry Potter series. So I didn't set the bar with superheroes, but one of them did look a little like Hagrid, and the other one did look
It's a little terrifying.
exactly. Hermione was sweet
Oh,
and beautiful.
yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. No,
uh,
we my mom and I started theme naming like back when I was a kid with the Clumbers. And the very first litter of Clumber Spaniels was named after vacuum cleaners.
oh,
And anybody who's ever been around or hunted over a Clumber understands why that is so incredibly fantastic, because that's what they sound like when they're hunting.
sound like an old Hoover.
Uh-huh. We had Hoover and Electrolux and Filter Queen and Kirby and oh yeah.
Uh,
And it was such a popular theme that dozens of years later, like probably close to 30 years later, another breeder came to us and said, "Hey, would you mind if we named a litter after vacuum cleaners too?"
yeah, I mean, you're going to run out of characters at some point. Right?
At some point.
Um, kind of going back to because I'm staying on line breeding because
Yeah.
am I saying this wrong? Most breeders who are trying to do a good job are using some form of line breeding for sure. That's not, or
Generally,
I mean,
yeah.
general. It's a safer statement than it
There
is.
is there is a theory amongst some people of what they call breeding to type, right? So there's genotype and phenotype. We know that genotype is the pedigree, phenotype
Is
is what the dog looks
looks
like,
like right,
right? And so this tends to be more, although I see it in bird dogs too. The show people will breed their miniature schnauzer to another miniature schnauzer that looks like that in its outline, in its head detail, whatever.
yeah,
I see a lot of guys that do that with their bird dogs. They're like, I've got a UT1, you've got a UT1, let's make UT1 babies.
right,
Which, maybe you do, maybe you don't.
right, yeah,
So that breeding on the phenotype, if you will,
right,
instead of the genotype. Those are the two basic concepts. You either
right,
breed by a pedigree or you breed by looks or performance or what have you.
right. When you spoke about performance, like when you do all these DNA, like because you knew all the dogs in those lines,
Mhm.
you do a DNA test or 23andMe for what do they call it for dogs, right? But
Embark, but yeah.
Bark, okay. It's not going to tell you anything about the performance unless you go into the information on the pedigree and see if they were tested and scored, right?
Well, DNA testing is not going to give you any information about performance, right? So
Performance.
drive, nose, some of them will tell you like size or coat. There is a for like wire hair pointers, there's a furnishing gene,
Yeah,
right? So
FF and
but
F.
actual performance, are they going to go out and point a bird? Are they going to be gun shy? Like none of those things are in there.
Right,
And so the pedigree, it tells you a variety of things, right? It tells you that people did stuff with these dogs.
right.
Um, th- okay, so this is my 5 takeaways from any pedigree. Titles. They performed, they did NAVTA, they did hunt tests, they did
Show
um,
ring,
dog
whatever.
shows, they did fast cat, whatever. It
Hmm.
tells you they did stuff.
Yeah,
Then the next takeaway from your pedigree is relatedness, right? That COI.
right.
The basic how close or not close, or how much of this dog and how much of this dog that's in there 16 times do I want, right? Is
Right.
it a good dog to be in there 16 times? And then it tells you whether it's line bred, inbred, outcross. Outcross, the thing to know about that is it tends to not be as prepotent. In other words, if there's things about this dog that you love, the chances of you
Getting
uh,
it.
getting that the reproducibility of an outcross is very minimal.
Right.
You might get it, you might not,
You would
and you might
almost
get
have
it
to,
once and not the next time, and then the third time,
it's
right?
just
So
so random.
that's
It's just so random.
scary.
Okay.
And as a breeder, I can assure you that when you outcross for one thing, no matter what that thing is, you may or may not get that one thing, but you're definitely going to get 10 other things you didn't want.
Or
So
didn't know
when
about.
you didn't know, didn't want, don't want anything to do with. So outcrossing should be taken under as much advisement as inbreeding, as far as I'm concerned. Because when I'm working in a line bred or an inbred situation, I know what I have. I'm very aware of it.
Right.
If I outcross like that Russian bitch, like I had no idea. I've never seen any of those dogs. I don't know anything about them.
Right.
Nothing. So there's a difference.
But
Um,
as a breeder, Laura, I don't want to say you want to go to Vegas once in a while, but when you do an outcross, is it what's in your head thinking like that, and it only might work, right? Because now
so,
after you do that, now you have to track those dogs that all come from those dogs.
yep.
Yeah.
So the thing that is ideal. Okay, so in an ideal world, which frankly there are so few of them left in this world today in any breed, it's
Right.
very difficult to do. But the ideal world is to take my line bred dog, tightly line bred, that has a type, right? The head
Right.
is this way, the coat is this way, the mind is this way, and breed it to another tightly line bred dog in a different family, but it's
Okay.
that whole family that has its own
So
qualities.
it's
And I
almost like
want a piece
a
of, I
dope.
want what it is that's good and consistent and repeatable from that family of dogs that
Right.
I want to add. I want a little more forechest, or I want a little more top line, or, whatever it is. I want
Right.
a prettier head, whatever it is, smaller ears, who knows? The best and most possible way to do that is to breed two different in tightly bred lines together,
Gotcha.
because each one should be strong for reproducing that thing you want.
Right.
Um, the problem that we run into a lot is that certain lines or families of dogs do not nick. So they're like oil and water. And I've lived this in my own breed, and there is a certain particular family of dogs that I have tried several different times with really good animals in each side to bring those lines together. And with one exception, it has been a crashing failure. I mean, everything.
And we're not
Like,
talking about
you
dogs.
have a Ferrari and a Porsche, and you bring them together, and you get a Yugo. It's disastrous.
But that if you did find that, let's say you found another Laura Reeves, right, who's been
Right.
working
Yep.
her
Yep. They're
that
out there.
line, and
Yep.
You've been working your line.
Yep.
Your best chances, but again, no guarantee. No, it's just still going to Vegas.
Still going to Vegas, man. Well, I mean, here's the bottom line, and
People
I
win
actually
in Vegas, right? People do win.
I'm telling you this.
Mhm.
Every single dog breeder on the planet is nothing more than a gambling addict that won't admit it. It's true. Every single one of them is sure that this time they're going to push the button on the slot machine and $10 million is going to come out
Yeah.
instead of losing it and having nothing left to eat dinner with. I mean, it's like it's a thing.
Yeah. Well, I hope that scared off every listener who ever said, I'd like to have, I've getting emails, and I'm sure you have too, Laura. We're thinking about breeding our dog because our kids would like to have a litter. Like, if that person bought a dog from Laura and let Laura
and let me help them, then
right.
that is fantastic. I wish 28 million people would do that. Because we need more good dog breeders.
Right.
Many more good dog breeders.
Laura, to that point, I did a in-depth video series with Bob Ferris with the poodle. And and just so people understand this, he doesn't keep 50 dogs at his place, but the people that he sells them to that are the right people, he will consult them. It's just like him having an extension arm of his kennel that lives in the next town. So you could get that.
Yeah.
But it's the person who just wants to breed the dog and hasn't listened to a show like this. And like, you've got to do some research. You've got to do.
There really needs to be effort put into it. The health testing is critical.
Yes.
And I'm not talking, oh, I got him a DNA swab and, he's purebred. I'm like, okay, that's nice.
Great. Yeah.
Hips, elbows, heart, thyroid, eyes. That's what wire-haired pointers require. It's pretty much what most of the sporting dogs require at some level or another.
Right.
And it's really important to remember. So Canine Health Information Center, CHIC, is run by the OFA, the Orthopedic Foundation for Animals. There is a CHIC number that you can acquire for your dog. Every single breed club for every single purebred dog has created a list of requirements for tests for their breed to earn a CHIC number.
Mm-hmm.
Super important to remember that a CHIC number can be acquired even if you don't pass any of the tests.
Okay.
The CHIC number only tells you that you took all the tests and you released all the results.
Oh, okay. Good information.
Which is really important. Test and tell is how we get better dog. Like, my dog may have this one thing, but it's got all this other things that's so important, like your dog that's too short, right?
Sure, yeah.
And I can use those genetics wisely if I have information and I can breed to this dog over here that doesn't have this one thing, and I can produce dogs going forward that are still healthy.
Right.
But maybe they're carriers, but they themselves are healthy. So if they're bred from, they have to be bred carefully, but you can eliminate many diseases by using the science to breed forward good dogs that are perhaps deficient in one area.
Right.
And you can breed healthy dogs with that information as long as we all talk about it. It's when you don't talk about it that you're like, oh, wait, what do you mean he had OCD surgery and I now have an OCD puppy?
Right.
Who knew?
Yeah, who knew? Nobody told. Nobody said
Nobody told. So that's the idea. That is the concept behind CHIC. So if you are breeding to a dog that has a CHIC number, make a point of going to the OFA, looking up that dog, and seeing what its actual test results were.
Right. That'd be like hiring a high school graduate and finding out that I was at the bottom of the class. Okay. Might not make an accountant out of that dog, out of that guy, right? But
maybe not. You never know.
It says on the wall, high school diploma.
Yeah.
It says on the wall, this dog has a CHIC number. Oh, great. You gotta go. You gotta.
Go find out what the actual test results were.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Because I heard chick, and I see it on people's websites.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
and
And a
immediately
chick
think, oh,
number is great. Like I want to know
yeah,
that I'm going to share my screen again because this is another
yeah,
important piece of information for people on the video. I want to know that they went through all of it and they test and told. Like that's really important to me, but I'm
mhm,
also going to look and make sure that they actually passed all those tests, right?
right.
So here's another super important for people on video, super important thing that the OFA has on offer. On the screen is what's called a vertical pedigree. And what that does is it goes to you go to the OFA website, you put in the dog's name that you're interested in. This happens to be one of my dogs,
Hmm.
and it will show you that dog's pedigree, and it will do this for various different tests. This happens to be hips, and it will show you the dog that you're interested in, his test score, and then tells you he had 9 siblings. Of those 9 siblings, 5 were good, 2 were excellent.
Wow.
And then it shows their offspring. So Bing's sire was Luca. Luca himself was also excellent. He had 2 siblings, one of which was excellent. Okay, wait a minute. What does that tell you? And this is also siblings that were tested. Okay,
Right.
not
Right.
all the siblings.
Right.
So of the 2 siblings, one is excellent. That means that one of them didn't turn their results in, which generally means they didn't pass.
Oh,
So that's information. Then
yeah.
it shows he has 18 offspring. 10 are good, 5 are excellent. Where's the other 3?
Nobody posted the
They
notice.
didn't turn those in,
Yeah.
which means they may be bad. So this is, and I don't think that's a deal breaker at all, but what I'm telling you is this information, when we do breedings, and particularly when it comes to health testing, we don't just want to know the results of the actual dog. The depth and breadth of the pedigree is what we need to know about.
Right.
And I would far rather breed to an OFA fair dog that has nothing but excellence around him than an OFA excellent dog that has nothing but fairs around him.
And missing information.
Well, right. Although I'll tell you, if it's missing, it's bad.
Well, now, could I be the devil's advocate? Could it
Sure.
be sold it to a person and
No, because they were tested. They were tested for something. And if they're tested for something
oh, I
and
see, I
they
see.
don't turn in their hips, I promise you it's because their hips didn't pass.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I was thinking it's just a dog that ended up getting sold because somebody died of that.
These are the ones that were tested,
Tested.
not the
Wow.
entirety of what's available.
Yeah, that kind of saves you a little research, right? I mean, it's like
It is the research. This is the research.
well, I mean, it is in it.
And it also, you don't have to rely on anybody telling you or forgetting or
Yeah.
whatever. It's right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Does PenHip have anything like that?
So PenHip is a fantastic tool. So for people that are wondering, the Orthopedic Foundation for Animals scores hip x-rays and shoulder x-rays and elbow x-rays and eyes and thyroid and heart, all this stuff. PenHip, it was created by the University of Pennsylvania, and it is a different scoring system.
Mhm.
So OFA, they have a panel of 3 veterinarians. They all review the x-rays, and it's a consensus opinion. Is this excellent, good, fair, dysplastic?
Right. And
Whatever.
these are people that look at x-rays every day.
Yes,
of
they are
life.
specialists. They're orthopedic specialists. PenHip developed a very specific measurement.
Right.
It's like a distraction index is actually what it's called, and it is a measurement of how much, basically how much give there is in the hip socket. And
Right.
can I tell you, please, I'm not very good at this, but I did a fantastic interview with Dr. Karen Potter, who is a wire hair breeder.
I know Karen well.
Yes, I did a fantastic interview with Karen on PenHip. So please,
Oh.
all y'all, go to Pure Dog Talk and look up that interview because
Are
it
you
was really
kidding?
good, and she's much smarter than I am.
I'm good friends with Karen. I've known her since she was a teenager. I didn't know that you knew her. It makes sense now.
Sweetheart, it's where
So every
if they're in wire hairs, I know them. I mean, that's just, I'm sorry, but that's just
It is.
reality. Not necessarily knob to wire hairs, but knob wire hairs, generally speaking, yeah.
Right, right. And her and I just talked like a month ago
Mhm.
about a whole nother subject I wanted
Yeah.
to bring her on, but I will listen to your episode with
Yeah,
her.
it's really important because what PenHip does is it tells you with measurements, not opinions.
Right,
And so that's the idea. And you can make appreciable improvement based on the PenHip studies by breeding to a tighter and tighter
right.
distraction index. Pardon me. And so I must be allergic to your cigar smoke.
No,
Totally teasing.
an inside joke. We are not in the same room together,
I know,
but
I know. I'm totally teasing. My dad smokes cigars, so it doesn't bother me even if I was there. But I was making an excuse for my throat clogging up.
the pen hip.
Go listen.
Yeah.
Go listen to Karen's episode. She's got tons of information, tons of data on it, and I think PenHip is a really super valuable tool. And the good news is that if you submit it, OFA or Chick will record a PenHip score.
Okay, great. So they're not like,
No,
they're not like against
no.
each other. They're all for the
No.
betterment of the breed.
It is one of the greatest things that I appreciate and admire about the work that OFA does and Chick specifically is they're absolutely in it. They have databases for rare and like uncommon breeds. They have databases even for some of the doodles that are working within a specific parameter. So it is a super important
Right.
registry of information. It is not a registry of dogs. It is a
Right.
registry, a repository
Yeah.
of information.
Yeah, it made it when I did my Brockville breeding for I think it was like 8 litters altogether. I think I was a flash in the pan. I was doing what I thought was best,
It's all good.
I don't think I did come into reproduction problems and bite problems and hernia problems, and these are all things that
Yep.
come from some parent somewhere.
It's there somewhere.
And somebody sold that dog and bred that dog and didn't talk about having 4 puppies come out with hernias that needed surgery before they went home.
Oh, geez.
Because
so I would say that Broncos need to be bred and whelped on huge doses of folic acid. Folic acid is what you use to what they call midline defects, and that's what a hernia is. And so hernias, cleft palates, all that kind of stuff, folic acid.
that can help a whole lot of that stuff. Interesting.
And up to what was the quote Marty gave me? Up to improved by up to 80% on cleft palates and pugs or something like that. So no, it's huge. But that is folic acid is what they use in breeds where those kind of midline defects are common. And so I would say if I was breeding that line again, I would be mega dosing on folic acid.
to the point where you're like, I don't want any more folic acid. You're having more. Have another slug
of folic acid. Yes. Yeah. No,
I wish I'd have been talking to you years ago because that would be the one part I would like I did the pen hip and it was really easy for a layman to understand. It's a moving bar graph on the bottom of the paper.
Super easy.
And I was like, great. I'm all my dogs are on the good side. So I know hips are a big concern, right?
Yeah.
Dog.
100%.
I had the eyes checked. Eyes were good. Yeah. And damn it, we'd have a litter of puppies and you saw them hernias and you're like, oh.
I mean, to be honest with you, a hernia to me is not a reason not to breed a dog. A bad mouth in a breed where mouths are a problem, yes. Hernias can be fixed, mouths cannot.
Right. And I actually have a note here.
So that's a whole conversation about decisions, right? Priorities.
Right.
And I have another podcast that you guys should listen to. It's called What's Your Line in the Sand? And it's a conversation with Dr. Greer talking about when you make breeding decisions, what will you accept and what will you not accept? What's your line in the sand?
Right.
And that may differ between breeds. For example, Clumbers, if the clumber is dysplastic, it's just normal. That's like functionally dysplastic. I don't care. Like if the rest of the dog is good and the only
Right.
thing that's wrong is the hips are not what regular dogs look like, I'm still breeding the dog. If my wire-haired pointer's hips look like that, I'm
No.
not breeding the dog, right? So
Yeah, they
there's
make a
a
living on their
difference,
hips. Yeah.
right? There's a real big difference, and it's very much breed dependent. And it is a conversation that's part of you, as you're going through this thought process. It doesn't have to be like, a 10-year plan but think through these things, right?
Treat it as if it is a 10-year plan.
Yes.
Even if
And
you're going to do one
have
litter.
have a goal, have a line in the sand, have a mission statement,
Yeah.
right? It's real. This is it. If we think of it in a more, I don't want to say business-like, but in a more serious way, we will have and do have and are proven to have more successful outcomes.
Well, this isn't a spanking because I'm not literally don't know anybody to name anybody. I'm sure, and Laura, I'm sure you could name names over the years, but the
See
analogy
no evil, hear no evil,
the,
man.
the analogy to me is you've mentioned utility tests many times. You've done the NAVDA testing with your wire hairs,
Yep.
and people would go to extreme amount of training and getting ready for that invitational test, the amount of birds they spend, the amount of gas they burn up. And then they want to breed that dog, and they wouldn't put a third of the effort into what you're talking about, but they'd put 120% of the effort into the training.
Yep.
Like you got to have a balance in there.
Well, and here's an interesting conversation. This is totally off topic, but it is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Old time NAVTA guys used to tell me they're much more interested in what the dog's natural ability score is than what their UT score is, because the UT is just training.
It is training, right?
And the NAVTA natural ability is, I've seen a lot of guys do a hell of a lot of training for a natural ability, but
Have to do.
it shouldn't have to. Like I would show up with mine. I'm like, well, it tracked a hot dog once.
Right. Oh, I've heard it. Believe me.
Dead serious. Dead serious. Anyway, so I think that it's nice, that they have the buildability and the determination and the drive to get through the training
Right.
to get to a UT. And a UT dog or a VC dog is a hell of a damn dog. I'm not taking anything away from it.
Right.
But understand that may or may not be reproducible. Because if you are a super damn good dog trainer and you have 45 hours a day to devote to this,
Right.
and a pond and a canoe and a this and a that, you too could make a UT dog.
Right.
Now, they
Right.
have to have the place to start, right? Like they have to have the putty in the hands
Right.
to make the mold, to put it in the kiln, right? Like there's a
Yep.
whole process.
Mm-hmm.
And each part of that process is important. But the place that is easiest to have be not producible is the training piece.
Right, 100%. And to your point, I met a lot of the old time judges. I think I started judging in 90 or 92 or something like that. And the same thing, I knew judges that when they got their puppy, when the magazine came out, because you don't get to know all of your owners, they go all over the country.
Right.
And when you see that whole litter of puppies over a fall get tested and they all got 4s in water and they all got 4s in pointing, you're pretty darn happy, and that does say that it inherited 7 traits that we need
Right.
to make a field dog.
Yeah.
And obedience is not an inherited trait.
No, it's not. Bidability,
The ability-
trainability, yes, that is a heritage trait.
Right. But obedience
but
doesn't come in the package.
it's not. It does not.
I'll bet you could take the best bred dog and give it to the worst person, and it would be the biggest embarrassment dog in the world, right?
100%.
Because
I will tell
a dog left on its own
Yeah.
would make every wrong decision that a teenager made its whole life.
Yeah, 100%. And yet you take a dog that is, this is one that my mom and I bred, so I'll use it as an example. He was a double outcross, both of his parents were out crosses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was a breeding my mom wanted to do. I'm like, great, you do it, because and so my mom was a kind of old fashioned. She did a lot of things on gut. Okay, mom, we'll do that. I will tell you that breeding produced that dog was a dual champion, best in show dual champion, first one in the breed. Was
Wow.
placed in the AKC, the GWPCA National Dog Show and the AKC National Field Trial Championship on the same weekend,
Wow.
twice. Okay. Um, like this dog was a hell of a dog. It He didn't produce it because he wasn't bred to produce it. Okay.
I
But he was a dog that this guy got. It was his first field trial dog. He took him everywhere. He did all the things. Like this guy was 110% devoted to that dog.
yeah.
And that dog was a whale of a dog. And he was absolutely not like, if you looked at the pedigree and you looked at the dog and you looked at what he did, I mean, the field trial guys, right? They're sitting on the horses. They see the dog come up. He's like, I swear to God, he was every bit of 27 inches tall and he's kind of not the greatest hair. uh, you know, and they'd be like snickering behind their books and right because the fluffy show dogs here, and they'd be
Yeah.
slumping along, and all of a sudden we would call it in the field trials, we call it
Baby.
sitting up.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I
It's a
had-
dog, right?
Must
It's
be
a
the
dog podcast.
Stop it.
The judges would sit up in their saddles and be like, "Son of a bitch, where'd that dog go?
Yeah.
Dog be going." And he was just one of those dogs. He had a big, huge stride, and he'd go galumpha, 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 shoo.
Yeah.
And so, I really, there is an enormous amount that is genetics, and there is a ridiculous amount that is environment and what is done with these dogs.
Yeah.
And
then
sometimes
there's the art.
sometimes you roll the dice, man. It
And-
comes up heads.
When you mentioned the art of it, I'm going to take that, or correct me if I'm wrong. The art of it is the breeder being not wearing rose-colored glasses, doing the research, and knowing the breed, knowing as much as you could know. The art, that's the art of it. It's like doing all the homework,
Yep.
reading right down to reading books about, like
All of it.
I had this
all of
old
it.
book that somebody wrote on the German Shorthair in the 40s, and I remember reading it cover to cover.
Mhm.
And I was like, I have to have one. The dog I read in that book, I read about, I think the guy's name that brought him was Thornton. He was a doctor in Wyoming, and
Yep.
he brought over and I saw these pictures of these short hairs, and I'm like, that was the first dog I wanted. Never seen that dog. Haven't seen that dog yet. Now, I've seen great ones, but I didn't see anything in that book from 1943. I'll tell you that.
No.
Yeah.
It's that was yeah. And I think that the art of it is, it's all of those things. It's all of the education. It's consuming more information than you thought was humanly possible, and then being able to synthesize that
Mhm.
to look at a dog and know what you need to do with it to accomplish a certain thing.
Yeah.
And then, my personal opinion, more important than anything else is the selection part. Once you do the breeding, you've got the litter of puppies.
Yeah.
You look in there and like, oh, that one has such a cute little heart on its side. That's the one I'm going to keep.
Right.
Nope. Nope. The selection is so important because you want to keep the puppy you did the breeding to get.
Right. This
So-
might take too long to answer, and I don't know how much time you have
I don't know how
left.
much time you got. I don't know. I don't even know how long we've been here.
We've been at it for about an hour. But speaking of that, because that question comes up a lot, well, how do you pick a puppy, right? And the standard answer is let your breeder help you pick the puppy, because the breeder's going to pick up on.
Yeah.
When you keep a litter of wire hairs, approximately, I know there's no answer, approximately, and you could still be wrong, I'm sure, in the end, but approximately when would Laura go like, I think it's that one? Like, would it be 8 weeks? Would it be 5 weeks?
For me, for
Yeah.
my dogs, not
Right.
for every wire hair, certainly not for every breed.
Right.
In my breed, in my dogs, in my litters, I usually know what I'm going to keep by 6 weeks.
By 6 weeks.
Mhm. I take 6 week and 8 week pictures. By then they're up on their feet, they're running, they're out, they're on the ground. I
Yeah.
can see what they're doing on the ground. I can get them around birds. I can do whatever. Um, and by 6 weeks, when I set them up, when I put them on the table at 6 weeks, 9 times out of 10, the one I'm going to keep is the one that's going to stand up on its own, this little tail going,
Yeah. Kind of like,
right? And they just have a self-possession about them and a presence about them that translates both in the show ring and in the field.
right.
And I mean, if I can't get eye contact, if I can't, because I evaluate now, I don't have as many litters at home, right? Like I'm
Right.
working with people around and about with dogs that are down from my pedigree, and I go and evaluate all the litters for them and,
Mhm.
kind of help them sort through. And I this year went up to do a look at a litter from one of my people, and I was considering that I was going to take a puppy home from it. And the one that I'd liked in the pictures that she had sent, I got it up and I'm looking at it and I'm holding it and I'm interacting with it and would not give me eye contact, like zero. I'm
Oh,
like,
just
oh
kept.
hell no, I am too old for this shit. Go away. I just Yeah. No, that's a hard call. That's a hard no for me. So, so much of it. I mean, if you're just a listener, if you're just a guy out there who wants a dog, 100% work with a good breeder and let the breeder talk to the breeder, tell them what you want to do, and they will probably wind up giving you a choice between a couple or something like that.
Right. And in your
Uh,
case, again, you couldn't guarantee it, but you
no,
were looking for
there
that.
are no guarantees in life, man.
You were looking for that dog that you're looking for. Like it's somebody else come in there and wouldn't like that dog because it looked different or did something different.
Yeah.
But because behind it, you probably already know you got tracking, desire, cooperation,
Well,
pointing.
you know what's there and
Right.
you know what you're looking for. And so you're gonna keep the dog like, I did this particular breeding because I wanted a little more, whatever, oomph, right?
Yeah, a little
Wanted a
more
little more
go.
power, wanted a
Yeah.
little more go. And so when I sort through that litter and I see the one that's super pretty and has a beautiful head and its coat's just perfect, just kind of laying there in the pen, and the other one's like, balls to the wall, see y'all.
Yeah.
Take that one, not that one.
Right. Right.
Right? It's not rocket science, but it is about that ruthless thing, right? It's about taking the emotion out.
Yeah. Taking emotion out.
Mhm.
Laura, we could go on forever and ever
Yes,
and
we can.
ever. And I told you first time I interviewed you, you're going to be back on this show on a somewhat regular basis. But I want to encourage people to listen to your show, and especially
And the Marty and Laura show. I think we didn't talk about this last time. I think maybe I hadn't started it yet. I just started a new podcast
this
this year.
Dr.
Yep.
Greer.
With Dr. Greer. It's called The Marty and Laura Show. And it is very much for the pet owner. So this is my big spiel. Send this home with all your people, all your puppy buyers, all your cousins, uncles,
Yeah.
girl, you know what I'm saying. It is very much pet owner focused.
Right.
Today's episode that just dropped was about, is it Cushing's or is it Addison's, and how do I tell, and what's the difference, and this kind of stuff. It's got a lot of cat information. If there's any cat people in the audience, Marty's a cat person. I personally think they look like fluffy potted plants, but I have wire hairs, so there's that.
Yeah, because you have wire hairs, of course. We can't love both if you're a wire
But
hair.
you don't get to have both. It's not
No.
really a thing.
No, that's like I want to be tall and handsome. I settled for handsome.
I didn't get either one. So what are you gonna do, man?
But so
I had to go with smart. Like I used to tell my one dog it was a good thing he was pretty because he was so dumb. I just
So the Marty and Laura show.
The Marty and Laura show, you can find it all the same places you find Pure Dog Talk. And it is just a really great general interest. And we started it for a reason. And the reason is that there is such a lack of basic animal husbandry information in the general population,
I agree.
right? The average guy, person, city dweller, what have you, has no clue.
But there's a
And
lot of
they
pets in those
also,
cities. There's a lot of
yeah,
pets
they,
in those cities.
yeah, it's not just cities. It's honestly, I don't think it's urban or rural, although certainly people in the rural area have more access to animals, but
Right.
it's generational. It's a question of, dog breeders are Satan, and it's just a lot of animal rights influence that's sort of sunk into the
Yeah.
community without them even being aware of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, the idea is Pure Dog Talk and the Hunting Dog Podcast and all these people, we're good at preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
I have been wanting a way for a very long time to stand on the street corner and do Hare Krishna, right? Like reach out to people that aren't already in our world. And
Right.
so that's what the Marty and Laura show is about. And we're very, very excited and super working super hard to push that out to the audience that needs it. So,
Right. Well, that's great. And also, now you have these seminars, like you said, the one you
yes,
gave us some
pedigrees to pups. Yep.
pedigrees to pups. Or pups to pedigrees or pedigrees to pups?
Pedigrees to pups. So the idea is you start with
Pedigree.
the it starts at 101, finding your foundation bitch, goes all the way through. So
Yeah.
the idea again, people aren't getting mentoring. There is nobody to help people
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
A lot of the old school visions of mentorship are gone. And so the idea of this is to create essentially a 360 degree mentorship in
Yeah.
a weekend. I mean, I can't solve all your problems, but I can get you a steady foundation and help you move forward from there.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I said a lot of things on a lot of podcasts for 11 years, and I probably didn't follow through on half of them. But those are mostly invites to hunt somewhere. Like, oh, yeah, I'd love to. I'm going to become a member of your Patreon page because
I love it.
I want to come to your night. What'd you call it again?
Yeah, after dark.
After
It's so
dark,
much
because
fun.
You took two great names that I wanted. You took Dog Talk, which when I was trying to make a podcast, that's out. And then After Dark, I just call mine Zoom Room. And as long as you guys like to have a drink and I can be
Oh
on,
yeah. Yeah, you can come join us. I mean,
we do ours once a month on
yeah,
the
it's
podcast.
usually the last Monday of the month. I
Okay.
will tell you, it's almost exclusively 50-year-old women, so you can have a grand time.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding? I might have to put my wife in a blue barrel.
There you go. Come move in. It's no, it's a really great group, and we
Yeah.
have a lot of fun. And it's a I don't know. I just I enjoy hanging out with them, and I enjoy having a laugh, a cry, whatever it is, right? When you're in dogs, sometimes you laugh, sometimes you cry.
And when you're breeding, it's
You cry a lot.
cry a lot. Laura, I can't thank you enough for coming on. Like
No
I said,
problem.
I'll come up with another subject and you'll know that subject too. And if
No
I
problem.
ever do take the leap, I got a good
Yes.
friend of mine who I think he does a good job with Wire Harris. He's part of the alliance.
Mhm.
They set bars for themselves.
Yep. Yep.
But I think I might be calling you if I ever go back to the beard.
I'm telling you, I got a litter that we'll find out if it's bred here in a minute.
Okay. All right. Message me.
All right, I'll let you know.
All right. Thanks,
All right,
Laura.
thanks, Ron.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Well, I don't know about you, but I love that conversation. In fact, I wish I lived closer to Laura. Um, we would probably I would probably stay breeding because I would have a mentor that doesn't, that woman does not wear rose-colored glasses, period. She's almost too honest, which is great for breeding. And I do encourage you look at Pure Dog Talk. I know if you're just a hunting dog listener, bird hunter, she's got some great episodes about hunting dogs, breeding. I really encourage you to listen to it and follow her. And she does those seminars. And I think we should, maybe I'm just talking to my patrons here. I think we should get her involved with something we're doing, because if you really love dogs, you got to really love what it takes to make the dogs. Talk to you later.